People are not upset by your indifference. They are upset because your choice holds a mirror to theirs, inadvertently so. This quote from yesterday's video is what inspired this video. I said this quote amidst a teaching. In fact, it clicked a light bulb in my mind. Yes, I've done extensive videos trying to understand why this world is founded on wickedness. Why do people try to pull others down? Why is it when you share a goal with a family member, their default response, that's crazy, they try as much as possible to drag you down the second class street? I can't recall the name of that teaching, and in fact, after today, I will stop using titles in order to attract viewers or clickbait titles so I can make references in future videos. So that's something you should expect. When you see a title, believe that it in fact explains the video. Or the video explains the title. Anyways, majority try and pull you down the second class streets because they are guiding their own script, they are guiding their own choices. There's a script that has been laid out. Go to school, get a job, have kids, buy a house, work for 20 to 25 years. That's the laid out path for most people. When you try and diverge to try and do something else, you are met with the utmost resistance because you're breaking status quo. The path about to be taken has never been treaded. So firstly, you're going to make a ton of mistakes, which in the meantime would serve as a reinforcement to your position. You're making a terrible mistake. It's never too late to return back to security, come back to the house, get a job, marry a 4 or 5, and be happy. It's never too late. However, if you conform to that wrong narrative, you would spend the rest of your life wondering what if. That's not the position either you or I want to end up in. In fact, I've spoken in an extensive teaching between those two errors. So watch my video, the error of commission and the error of omission, the difference between those two errors. So the error of commission is the pain felt from action taken, while the error of omission is the pain from inaction. So one bruises your ego, the other gnaws at your soul. It's better to face the rejection than to spend the rest of your life wondering, would my life have been better if I had just asked for the promotion, just asked for the raise? Would it have been better if I had quit my job, if I had done X, Y, Z? Well, you never know. So back to the nucleus of this discussion. I recall at the infancy of my career, the laid up path was, especially here in Africa, once you're done with school, go to the US or the UK. After 5-6 years of doing some bullshit degree, you get a visa, permission to stay, work 10-15 years more, save thousands of dollars, bring it back to your country, now you're a billionaire. That's the laid up path for majority. I refuse to tread that path that has been laid off me. And I recall when I made that decision to end the opposite direction, majority called me stupid. Majority said it was impossible. In fact, when I began learning stocks and becoming financially intelligent, I was in a very tiny apartment, 3-something guys, and I would wake up by 6 a.m. in the morning pick up a book, and although I've read it 100 times, I will read it 20 more times because that is the best move to make in this situation. Although I'm confused, although I'm anxious, although I do not know the next level, although I do not know how this book would benefit me in the future, I have no idea what I'm doing, but the best move to make is reading this book. And that's exactly what I did. Imagine getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning, crack open a book, and you're studying. While those two guys get up lazily, perhaps by 8 a.m., 9 a.m., as they walk to the toilets, they bestow upon you a look filled with disdain, as though you're wasting your life. From an external perspective, to the eye of the untrained man, it is so. He's wasting his life. How does reading books lead you to the next level? My friend, that book, I'm not saying, in fact, let me strike this balance, because majority of people mistake reading for taking action. Taking action is taking action. Reading only positions you to take better action. When the axe head is blunt, prepare to dissipate energy. So the reading sharpens your axe head. If your axe head is sharp, you chop the tree quickly. So reading is not action taking in and of itself. Action taking is in fact action taking. So after all those years of sitting on the floor, learning how the market works, understanding and dissecting charts, like I said, a very tiny apartment, the bathroom, the kitchen, all in one small space. So it was impossible to escape these guys. I had a little corner to myself where I would scatter up books, take up space, and while studying, they looked upon me as a madman. But fast forward 2 to 3 years later, when they see my lifestyle, see every single thing I'm about to accomplish, one guy reached out to me. He said, I'm tired of my life, I'm tired of the way I'm living, I'm anxious, I'm concerned. Please, I want to try something new. Teach me about stocks, teach me about the stock market. And I do not position myself as a guru, deliberately so, because revealing an investment vehicle exposes people to risk. Once you expose individuals to financial risk, especially, and they lose, you're seen as some imposter, false guru. The only thing I can share are my investment vehicles, not the destination of those vehicles. What that means, I'm not going to tell you what I'm investing in. I'm not going to share the crypto I hold, which would be seen as a subtle way to introduce my investments. That's not what I'm going to show. The only thing I can identify are the various vehicles. The destination is up to you. Family, your friends, they think they know what is best for you. They think, I have it all figured out. You do the same way. But let me make something clear. Security is an illusion. Companies lay thousands of people yearly. Economies crash, nothing is stable, nothing works, nothing is predictable. Even real estate, which people hinge their trust upon, undergo crisis. 2008 crash, what we are currently experiencing, where houses are off the roof, are off the chart, house prices are beyond the reach of the average taxpayer. So security in and of itself is an illusion. Wake up, my friend, and look at reality. Security is an illusion. Security is an illusion. Not let anybody fool you into believing you have to walk a constrained path in order to achieve a tiny level of success. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, we ask for permission to live. We ask for permission to chase our goals, either in the form of broadcasting your goals in order to garner cheerleaders to avoid opposition in the future. Now, the downside of that, sure, you might get little to no resistance by explaining your moves. You might foolishly bask in the assumption, I'm trying to carry my family along. The reality of it is, you're trying to reduce the emotional hurdle, the emotional obstacle that comes with being unique, that comes with being misunderstood, that comes with doing something new. My friend, you're robbing yourself of a unique story of how nobody believed in you. Your parents told you you're trash. This is never going to work. You're lessening the body. And if you lessen the body, you're not worthy to carry something bigger in the future. The second way to look at it, most people conform, most people shrink, most people pretend to ask for permission. Do you think I can do this? Mom, I want to go into business. What are your thoughts? And they foolishly believe the response, which is just a reinforcement of their laziness. Mom says I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it. She's an adult. My friend, an adult, especially in today's day and age, is not a consequence of wisdom, maturity, or experience. An adult is judged based off the passage of time. That's your chronological age. And as we know it, age, without all of those virtues aforementioned, is just a number. If a man spent 50 years of his life in a cave, and on his 51st birthday, you bring him out, he's going to be of little to no use. To you as an individual, is going to have little to no wisdom. But the point I'm trying to highlight from that analogy, from that extreme example, is age is just a number, devoid of the experiences and the risk and the consequences that comes as a result of those risks. Age is just a number. In fact, we as children, not we as children, children often overestimate the intelligence of adults. Once an adult says something, it's final. But you growing up as an individual, having interacted with few people, you believe you're lame and you're stupid, you're foolish. So the worst thing you can do in 2025 is to ask for permission to live, bask in the assumption of others, believe what people think, hope they understand you. My friend, the best thing you can do, at least what I used to do when someone would mock or treat me with disdain as a result of my choices, is to say to myself, the end shall justify the means. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.